I'm back. Rodrance for our Black and White Network. Well, we're going to talk about John Fetterman because he took some shots from one Joe Rogan and Dr. Phil. They came out and said the obvious. Is this man capable of possibly holding a public office as high as a Senate? He's running against Mehmet Oz right now. Trump-endorsed Mehmet Oz. Up in Pennsylvania, it is absurd that this race is as close as it is. Oz is right there. It's now neck and neck. Fetterman was disastrous on the debate stage last week, and a lot of people have talked about how he talks, etc. Look, I understand I don't talk perfectly, but I'm a redneck from Texas that's not running for Senate either, right? Self-awareness is a thing, okay? As much as I feel good about the platforms that me and John have created and the reach we have, 6 million in the last month, I still understand I'm probably not going to run for Senate one day, all right? And I'm fine with that. Fetterman has been dealt a medical blow, okay, by having a stroke. It is what it is. And Joe Rogan, of course, the number one podcaster in the world, had Dr. Phil on. And Dr. Phil didn't hold back either, and he made an analogy that I feel like is kind of appropriate here. I truly do. Because they both let their feelings known about how much they believe this guy is not capable of running for this position. They also took a shot at Biden in there. I'll try to play a little bit of this if I can. Breitbart, Dr. Phil. Hell no, you wouldn't get me on a plane if John Fetterman was a pilot. I mean, it's just kind of obvious, right? There's something wrong with Pennsylvania Democrat U.S. Senate candidate John Fetterman. Celebrity psychologist Dr. Phil McGraw told Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience during a recent episode, explaining the problems began with, quote, his brain. McGraw's observation came after Fetterman debated Republican challenger Dr. Mehmet Oz last week. The overwhelming reaction to the exchange was that it was a disaster for Fetterman, who is recovering from a stroke. McGraw noted that he has not tested Fetterman or President Joe Biden, but he said it seemed to him that, quote, President Biden is not at his best and that Fetterman is not at his best. And I'm not trying to be unkind. He had a stroke, McGraw explained. I mean, the poor guy, he had a stroke. Just ask yourself, McGraw added. Let's say you were getting on a plane and the airline pilot had similar cognitive impairments. Would you get on? Question mark. Well, hell no. For his part, Rogan said Fetterman is clearly compromised to the point where, while he's communicating, he's not just stumbling. He's kind of lost in thought and can't form a coherent sentence, bounces around from it. He looks troubled. And while I was watching MSNBC, they were trying to say, well, I mess up sometimes when I talk, and I misspeak and I stumble on my words. Let's just play a little bit of this.
And can't form a coherent sentence and bounces around from he looks troubled. And I was watching MSNBC, and they were trying to say, well, I mess up sometimes when I talk, and I misspeak and I stumble on my words. Of course you do. Everybody does. We're human. I do it all the time. But there's a big difference between the overall 1 hour debate. You're looking at a guy who seems to have something really wrong with his brain. And for you to gaslight and pretend that's not the case just because it doesn't fit with your narrative, that's not news. That's propaganda, and it's fucking dangerous.
Oh, I mean, Rogan didn't hold back. It would appear the vast majority of the audience on the debate night agrees with the summation of Dr. Phil and Joe Rogan. Following the debate, local Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania station WPXI opened an online poll for viewers to cast their votes and choose a winner. Although Fetterman is considered the favorite in the Pittsburgh area, about 82% of viewers said that Oz won the debate, while the Democrat garnered just 18%. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Fetterman said he did, quote, better in the debate than his prior debate in the Democratic primary. I'm not sure that is a ringing endorsement for your candidate. Well, this one was a slightly lesser train wreck than the last sumbitch we did. So we're good. Well, we're not good. What is Pennsylvania voters doing anyway, voting for this dude, considering they're... Look, this guy is like Baby Bernie, okay? Like a big, freaking, hunchback of Notre Dame looking Bernie Sanders, for crying out loud. He is a socialist with a capital S, all right? And look, he wants to end any kind of he wants to jump full on board with anything that has to do with green, the green deals, the climate changes. And in Pennsylvania, oil and gas is like a major industry there. I mean, this guy's radical, really and truly. He's right there with the AOCs and the squad. He's kind of like the big Andre the Giant part of the squad, all right? The last thing we need to do is get this guy in any major public office. The other day I said, look, he could probably be a mayor in a city of 1,500 people, okay? But there's a big difference between that and being in Senate. Plus, we know Dr. Oz can at least get up there and he can formulate sentences. He's used to being on television camera. He's not going to be bothered by when he gets under the lights, and he's got to make big decisions, and he's a freaking doctor, for crying out loud. I mean, he's an actual doctor, Joe Biden. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Rogan did not hold back here. We know Rogan, he's more of a classic liberal, but he's sort of standing there in the middle while the rest of his party has ran disastrously far left. And, he recently come out and endorsed Ron DeSantis for president, a Republican. There's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of voters just like that. I read an article yesterday. Person lives in Florida, is down in Florida, has a relative that is an older Democrat, always votes across the board blue, no matter what. Just goes to the voting booth, boom, checks all blue. We know those kind of people that vote aligned with a party regardless. And that person said that Democrat in the family has vocally come out and said that they are voting for Ron DeSantis for governor. And the family member was like, that was something I never, ever thought I would hear from this person that votes always blue right down the list. Gonna be a lot of people just like that. They've lost Hispanics. They're losing blacks. It's a disaster. It truly is. Tell me what you think, Black and White Network supporters. Peace. I'm out. Till next time, Black and White Network supporters, make sure you go over and check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. 25% off USA First. 25% off USA First. Go now.